Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Young Manufacturing Leaders Summit 2025. It's really a pleasure for me to be here today and to also international, open-minded, and talented group of young people. So first of all, a disclaimer, I am not a professional moderator. I'm, as many of you, an engineer, so I will try to do my best to moderate the session of today. So I apologize in advance for any error will take place today. So I joined Young Manufacturing Leaders a few years ago, having the opportunity to attend for the first time in 2022 World Manufacturing Forum, and I'm really glad and honored for this responsibility, but it will be really a pleasure for me. So just to wrap up, the key content of World Manufacturing Forum of this year is definitely skills are key enabler to the success of European industry of the future. And definitely young generation represents the key decoupling point to ensure innovative, sustainable, and effective job place, but also future sustainable economy for our continent and for the world. Before switching to the first keynote speaker, I would like to thank you, the World Manufacturing Foundation, also this year to give us a chance to be and attend the World Manufacturing Forum. So let's start with the first key panel and the key speakers, keynote speaker. So after this insightful discussion during the World Manufacturing Forum over the last day, it's really pleasure and thanks for accepting our invitation. Professor Joan Ster, Head of Division of Production System at Chalmers University of Technologies, with a keynote speech named Road Mapping the Future of Work to Ensure Great Job and Place. Please join me in giving a big round of applause and welcoming Professor Joan Ster on the stage. Thank you.
First, demographic disclaimer. I'm not as young as I should be, speaking at the Young Manufacturing Leaders, but like David used to say, I'm a forever young professor. I'm really happy and pleased to be here to speak to you today. Usually I've been forced to speak, not forced, but motivated to speak in the dinners of the Young Manufacturing Leaders before the events. So this is the first time I do this sober, so please bear with me. We have been spending 2 fantastic days with the World Manufacturing Forum looking at the future. And it has been very, very intriguing and inspiring to see what our experts are thinking about the future. But I think that the future is actually sitting in this room now. So it would be very interesting afterwards to see what you are thinking about the future. But you are the future. And I think that it's very difficult to foresee the future. If we were to go back in the early 1900s, Henry Ford was actually doing equally amount of electrical cars as he was doing gas cars. And imagine what would have happened if someone didn't invent the electrical start engine and got the gas. We would have probably had a completely different discussion on CO2 and all different kind of sustainability aspects that we had. So it's very, very difficult to foresee the future. It's also difficult to choose the way in this funnel of the future. You have very different outcomes, but you have to realize also that you can influence it. And you are the guys that are going to influence it, and we have people here who have been trying to influence this for a long time. And we can see how in the end we will see how successful that was. But if you go back even further, not further than Henry Ford, but if you go back to the 60s, we have been discussing AI, we have been discussing different use of cognitive technologies here a couple of days. In the 60s, there was a guy that was called John McCarthy, he was at Stanford, and he was looking at artificial intelligence as the way to replace humans. And his sole intent was to see how can we make an electronic brain. And he actually invented the concept of artificial intelligence. But just 100 meters down the hall at Stanford was another guy called Douglas Engelbart. And he actually took a different approach to this, called this intelligence augmentation. And he was the one who patented the mouse. He was the first one to set up a network of computers in Silicon Valley. And he had a completely different approach to this. But today, here we see that both of these, they're coexisting, right? So in our society, what we are now living through, we are seeing is being promoted at every level. It's the combination of these two. So you never know what's going to happen in the future. And that's why it's so difficult to do these roadmaps that David has now trying to converge with your help. Several of you have been helping him. But one thing that we are also quite sure of, we have to sort of find the things that we can be sure of. And that has been exposed a lot of times these 2 days with the people, the skills and the talents that are missing or not being enough. So that's one of the trends. There are other trends. The different geopolitical trends we have also been discussing. We have been discussing new materials and new ways and new technologies emerging. Policy and policy interventions and the different kinds of policies and bureaucracies that are influencing the way that the innovation is emerging. But probably the biggest trend here, creating jobs and the new workplaces, is the access to digital. And we also see there, this morning was a fantastic presentation on Africa and how so many people still lack access to digital technologies. I think it was quite impressive to see this presentation. But we are leveling off. The people that we're talking about, they're becoming more scarce. So it's basically only Africa which is still increasing in size. Everything else is sort of leveled and starting to decrease. And in many countries that has been the fact for several years now. So if you look at the demographics and the development of the demographics, you see that Europe now is reaching a point where the number of people will probably not be enough to create the growth that is needed to sustain the pension payments and the productivity and the innovation levels. And therefore it's very important, especially for you guys, to see, because without you, David and I and Marco will not get any pensions, and neither will you. So therefore it is very important to see how can this be changed, and how can we, for example, start a better interaction with a place like Nigeria, where you have the people that might be needed in our societies as well. And that comes with a lot of political issues and a lot of discussion on migration and the kind of biases that we have seen lately, and the negative development in parts of the world. And the countries that are going to be hit first is actually China. So that is also a reason why we are talking about so many robots in China. They have already understood this, that they need to be able to replace and to augment people at a much or at a mass level. But there are other aspects. I mean, if you look at, we took a look at 18 countries just to compare what are what are the different actions that countries are taking. And if you look at the developed economies with the advanced aging where we are, or with the aging populations, including China, US, Canada, Australia, Japan, etc., there's a lot of effort on the talent-friendly migration policies. If you go to Canada, for example, they have a speed track, where they call it, to get people into the system. You become a Canadian citizen just in weeks if you have the right background and the right ambition. There is a lot of effort on youth attraction and STEM promotion, and I think we have it in Sweden. I'm sure that you have it in other countries, and on European level, they sort of did replace all in the innovation program they took away deep tech and replaced it with STEM. And you also have these silver workforce initiatives. I know that not so many of you are covered by that term, but some of us are. To maintain people also after retirement age, if there is a possibility for that. But the most pervasive part of this is the massive upskilling and reskilling programs that are available in many countries. So the skill sets are growing. But where do you find the talent? Do you know what a talent is? This is a talent. This is 450 BC. The talent was worth 9 man-years of labor. So you could buy a boat or something with this. And 9 man-years you could build a boat, and this talent would pay for that. And I guess it's pretty similar today. If you hire someone, a talent, there's probably more than 9 years of work and skill development behind that person. So it still stands, right? But talents are scarce. If you look at this manpower survey, looking at, the question has been, does your company have the possibility to hire the people that have enough talent, enough skills to do their work? And the figures are especially in Europe, except for Poland, which is a little bit better. Most countries, that's a very negative answer. So in Israel, 85% of the companies would say, oh, they don't have the skills needed for the job that we want them to do. And the mean is around 74%. So this is an obvious problem. So how to go about it? I mean, many of us are in universities and working hard to train and to educate people. Many of us are also involved in upskilling and reskilling efforts to focus on the workforce, which is already employed. But somehow we have to get around this. And what is it that you need to tell them, teach them, regardless if they're in universities or if they're in the workforce? Well, if you look at the World Economic Forum Future Jobs Report, comes out every second year. It's a very interesting reading if you're into this. It's this kind of skills: curiosity and lifelong learning, systems thinking, motivation and self-awareness, empathy, active listening, creative thinking. And if you hear these words, it's not something that you can learn in a course over a week, right? It's something that some things you need a lifetime to acquire. So this is pretty tricky as well. This is what the companies want their employees to possess the skills in. And I think that in the universities we are trying to give the students these skills by exposing them to applications, by exposing them to situations, context where they are forced to apply these skills, and learning by doing will help them to do that. So it's not so easy, but we're what we are getting at. People want, the company wants the people to have these skills. The skills are quite complex to give. So what can you do to complement this instead? Well, you would be able to replace people, of course. And that's a little bit what we discussed this morning. But I think that the outcome of the discussion this morning was that the replacement is not the optimal option. It is a variant of the option. But mostly it will be the augmentation, the reinforcement of people's abilities, both in the cognitive part or in the physical part. So I usually ask this question to students, but how many of you know your 10 best friends' telephone numbers? So you augmented all that work to your telephone. You put that in the hands of the telephone, the technologies. And that's the cognitive augmentation then. And the physical augmentation is when you use a robot or something like that to help you do the physical stuff. So there's a whole range of tools, and virtual reality, extended reality, all of those are augmentation tools in a sense, and platforms. So these are some of the experiments we've been doing at Chalmers the last 20 years or so. And there's a paper from Cambridge that we did about the augmentation and made it into a sort of template for trying to find ways to augment. Cutting this talk a little bit short, because I think that we could go into the technology development, but let's keep it like this. I would just like to thank you again for allowing me to stand here in front of you, provoking you a little bit, I hope, on what you need to do to safeguard your own pensions and the growth and the technology development, and also taking into account all the amazing things that we've been hearing the last 2 days. I think that especially this morning was quite provoking, thought-provoking in many ways, both from a geopolitical perspective, but also from technological perspective, and all the things that come into the discussions. But I think that the skills and talents, the upskilling is really something that we need to focus on. The human centricity, how to prepare the technology that we are developing from the human perspective rather than from the technology perspective, because if you do it from the technology perspective, then you're not sure that the technology will be adopted. And since we have so few people that they really need to want to use the technology. That's why it's really important. And the last part here that we should always try to focus on augmentation. Automation can always be done. It will work less or more effectively, but augmentation is always something that the human will support in a sense. But then again, it's all about you. This is your future. This is your work. Some of you are researchers in beginning stage, some are in industry, and I think that you are really, just by being here, you're showing that you care about the future and you care about what is going to happen to this community, and I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your insightful speech.
And I stole this picture of public post. Sorry.
Before leaving, I have just an open question for you.
Yes.
So it was very interesting, the map of demographic you show us today, and also it was part of the discussion of this morning. Professionally speaking now, I'm based in Middle East, and I'm working a lot with African continent. It's quite impressive the pace in which demographic in Africa will grow in the next 15 to 20 years. What are your recommendations for us, like young manufacturing leaders, but also that is an open question for, let's say, small, medium, but also big European enterprise, how on a side in terms of technology, but not only, like from a human-centric standpoint, how young generation can support at European level to address this market, but also how academia and enterprise could address at the same way, and how these two elements could cooperate and collaborate to address this market for the future. That definitely will be a new market because European community and population will slow down. So definitely will be key and crucial for the coming years.
That was like 10 questions, right?
Yes. Correct.
So I think that if I were in your situation, I would go there. In 2035, I think Nigeria will have more people than US. So I think it's a growing market, and it's growing. There's a book by Clayton Christensen, I think, about innovation. They said, well, don't try to push your European innovations on Africa. Try to go there and see what problems do you need to solve. I mean, for example, we saw today that there's a huge amount of people that lack digital access. That's a problem. It's not a problem here. It's a problem there. So they want to, and I think UNIDO is also an organization that works in this way. They bring European and US people to developing countries, but then they don't want them to stay there. They just want them to initiate something, and then it should be taken care of by the local engineers and local population. So I think going there is number one, to understand, because I don't think we can sit here and tell them what to do. I think that time is over. It was over already in the 1700s. So probably that's the answer to many of your questions.
Yeah.
Bring the SMEs, bring the companies there to see, because I think that there's a little bit of resistance. It's scary. It's like white part of the map.
So the key message, if I can synthesize, is not duplicating European model and innovation, but like try to understand, figure out, and customize according with African needs, let's say.
You need to innovate on their terms.
Yeah.
You cannot innovate on European terms in Africa.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your speech and for your insights. Thank you. A big applause for John for accepting our invitation and to be here today. So now let's move in our agenda and welcoming on the stage young manufacturing leader coming from different European hubs. And so the first panel of today is regarding young manufacturing city hub networks, so the origins, the achievements, and the journey. So let's call on the stage Irati Salcedo, member of Basque City Hub and bachelor student at School of Engineering at EMH campus in Spain. Then Sharzad Sajidanv, head of Dublin City Hub and PhD students at University of College Dublin in Ireland. Greta Brown, head of YML Gothenburg City Hub and PhD students at Chalmers University of Technologies in Sweden. Sona Arevshaitian, head of YML City Hub and educational project manager at Made Competence Center Industry 4.0, Italy. Katerina Paraskevopoulou, head of YML Patras City Hub and research engineering at Laboratory for Manufacturing System and Automation in Greece. And last but not least, Joana Mirana Pinto, head of YML of Porto City Hub and researchers, project manager and business consultant at Faculty for Engineering at University of Porto. So thank you, all of you. Big applause for young manufacturing leaders, City Hub members. So it's really a pleasure for us to host on this stage. And first of all, I want to highlight something. So during the speech of Christina this morning, we were underlining how female and gender disequality in manufacturing sector. So today we are displaying many women on the stage, so it's definitely our young generation is trying to reshape the industry. So thank you very much for accepting our invitation and to be here with us. So let's start our panel today with a short introduction of you, and especially starting about the origin of YML Network. So I propose to start with Greta. So can you tell us about yourself, and when and why did you decide to join YML Network?
Thanks a lot, Luca. Is this on? Yes, okay. So super nice that all of you are here today, and I agree, it's nice that we have a female-only panel today. It doesn't happen so often in manufacturing, but it's very nice. So I'm a PhD student at Chalmers University in Göteborg, Sweden, and I joined the YML network 5 years ago when it just started. I was talking with Marta Pinzano about it before. That was even before I started my PhD. I was still working in industry after my master, so I'm an electrical engineer. And I saw on LinkedIn this post by a Chalmers professor that they were looking for some volunteers to organize events in this new network called Young Manufacturing Leaders. And I reached out, and then I was very quickly part of the team, and I think since then it has just become better and better by each year that we meet. I'm very thankful for this opportunity to be part of the network that Marco Taish and Marta started once upon a time here at Polyme. And I think it's so nice to see that we, after many years, have some recurring phases, but also every year new people joining. It shows the ambition of us and our engagement in this.
And if I may ask you, connected to this last point, so how did you notice during the last years the network change? Which main transformation did you realize, and would you like to share with all of us? In your opinion, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, there has been changes. I think we see that our world is changing a lot. Johan presented the different trends impacting jobs and how some jobs are displaced by, for example, geopolitical threats and digital technologies and so on. And some jobs are also created. And I think that's also impacting our network. Like, what are the topics that we are dealing with? So I think that's maybe the main change that I have seen. What are the topics that we're discussing when we meet, but also the different events that we organize. What are we highlighting there? So I would say from maybe being a bit more focused on the, technologies. We have also more and more talked about sustainability aspects of manufacturing, but also this diversity aspects. And I think because of these different city hubs, we really bring together a lot of different perspectives. So that is one more thing. We have expanded the amount of city hubs that we have. So the more perspectives we get, I think the more perspective rich we also get in terms of ideas and also opinions on things. And I think if you would not have that, if you would never see that there are different perspectives, you wouldn't even know. And especially in times of polarization and the geopolitics, what we have talked about, it's especially important that we come together like this from different countries, and we really see that, we're all just humans. We want the same things. Maybe we have different opinions sometimes, but that's fine. And that is something that I have realized during these years become more and more and more important.
So definitely in YML network, let's say the diversity is a factor that enriching the community and also bringing definitely a value added. Okay, thank you. So I propose to switch to Joanna. So let's move to Porto City Hub. So can you share with us how your journey started and how during your journey, your position and your engagement within the network changed over the time and over the years?
Yeah, thank you. this on?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I first joined the network as a mentee for the mentoring program we were conducting in Porto City Hub, or they were conducting, the rest of the team. I joined on my second year of the master's degree, and that's how I actually knew about the network, and then ended up being part of the team behind it. It was like a dual side job, because on one hand I was learning from an industry related researcher, and I'm more on the business side. My background is on management, and it was really interesting to understand that different perspective, the industrial applications of the management part, how the industry was evolving has been evolving in the past few years. And then I could be part of the team that was trying to dynamize these activities. So organizing events, trying to grow the network, to involve more people, to reach the young generations into being part of these mentoring programs. At least on our side, on the FEOP side, we have the teams, of course, because we are the Faculty of Engineering, but then there was still this leadership gap, because the engineers were kind of programmed to being just working for someone, doing their part, and that entrepreneurial side needed to be activated and motivated. So part of our events and initiatives were more focused on that. We had more projects on the same time that could merge together into a bigger initiative and gather more people from the academia, from the industry side, to give different perspectives and really motivate this entrepreneurial factor that was missing to pursue. And yeah, I think I learned a lot on the different roles that I had, the mentee part, the more strategic role on the background of the YML team. And it has been really nice to see how it has evolved in the past years.
And if you have to comment or share any remarkable moment of this journey, would you mention any of them?
I mean, I think, of course, coming every year to this event and meeting new people, and also finding the same people since the beginning, is really enriching, because all of us we are growing, and we can share it with each other. We can share about our latest experience and learn a lot, and really have a different look on what we are doing so far. And I think that's really the most important part, to be part of this network that can give us something different to think about, to reach the new connections that can lead to future connections. I think that's really amazing.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience. So if now we move to Dublin City Hub, and Shahzad, we represent today this community. Can you tell us how your journey, your personal journey, your diversity in terms of experience you did, and why did you decide to join the network? What are the main peculiarities or benefits you perceive in Dublin YML City Hub?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really glad to be here with you. It was really nice to see everyone on their talk. I'm presenting Dublin City Hub. I'm part of IFORM. It's an advanced manufacturing center in Ireland, based in University College Dublin. And actually, I joined YML 3 years ago through one of my colleagues that he was organizing some workshops and promoting YML network for us. I went there, and the nice thing was like he was trying to show that bridge between academia and industry, what's missing, that academia can't see, and that's a problem in industry. That was very fascinating, and also like networking, like to be around people that you are sharing same passion about future of manufacturing, all the manufacturing was really interesting for me. And another reason was like the community. It's very supportive to be like with people that encourages you to in your career was interesting for me, and that was one of the reasons I joined YML. And then he graduated, and I took the lead of City Hub.
Okay, thank you for sharing this. And why would you recommend to people from Dublin to join this community? What you would list as one key strength and opportunity within YML in Dublin, let's say?
So the network for me is important. Like young people can build strong relationships there, and also if they want to explore beyond this like local circle, they can join YML and be visible in let's say European landscape manufacturing. So I would recommend to start it from YML to build the network. Networking is the key, I suppose.
Thank you very much. So now I propose to move to Patras. So to Katerina, is your turn. So can you share the story of the City Hub of Patras and your journey within this City Hub and this network?
Okay. So regarding my journey, I first joined YML back in 2023 when one of my colleagues introduced me to the network. And actually at the same time, the World Manufacturing Report Contest was taking place. So he encouraged me to participate there as well. And that was actually the main motive for me. I wanted to take one of the first places in that contest in order to be able to come to the World Manufacturing Forum. Now regarding our City Hub, it is located in Patras, which is a city in the west of Greece, and it is hosted by the Laboratory for Manufacturing Systems and Automation. And although we are actually quite smaller than the rest of the city hubs, we try to keep it growing slowly but steadily. For example, last year we had 6 new members to our city hub, and that makes it a total of 20 members, 15 of them being male and 5 females. And also, what we try to do as a City Hub is to be as active as possible regarding the YML network, either by having participants to the Manufacturing Report Contest or the Innovation Contest every year, or by engaging with YML activities as much as possible. And our latest work was that last year, in collaboration with the Porto City Hub, we worked on the development of 2 EIT manufacturing learning paths. So, yeah.
So basically, you have experienced cross-collaboration. Like, I know that Porto collaborate with you on this. Could you extend a little bit more this opportunity of synergies between this hub and this experience with IET manufacturing?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we worked on 2 learning paths. The one was focused on sustainable 3D printing and the other one on Industry 5.0. And although each city hub was responsible for the development of one learning path, specifically Patras had the sustainable 3D printing and Porto the Industry 5.0, we didn't just work individually. We tried to hold as many online meetings as possible in order to discuss our ideas, brainstorm, to review each other's content, and most importantly, to make sure that our learning paths complemented each other and that we had the same quality standards, let's say, applied. I think this collaboration actually helped us combine our different fields of expertise in order to make sure that we would create an outcome that would be appropriate not only for academia, but for industry as well.
Thank you very much. So there is a recording ongoing, so where is possible to find this material? Is accessible for everyone? So where the students or young practitioner can find this material, and are they available?
Okay, so these two learning paths can be found on the EIT Manufacturing Academy platform, which is very accessible to everyone. And we have 6 and 7 lessons to each learning path, let's say. The lessons are approximately 20 minutes long each. And we have also incorporated some final quizzes in order to make sure that people who take these courses have comprehended and understood the content. And I think it's a great opportunity for people who want to get engaged with these courses because, first of all, they are asynchronous, and this means that interested people can consume it at their own time and pace. And also, they do not require any background information. This means that anyone who wants to get in touch with these two topics, I think that this is the best case for them.
So we definitely not need to miss this chance to learning through this platform. Joanna, do you want to add something regarding this jointly program that you carry out together, 2 different city hubs, and how was this experience?
I think Katerina explained it really well, but this is just another example of how these links are important, even in this purpose, creating educational content, trying to see the most interesting content to present to the people that want to learn what is the need, actually, this skills gap that we are trying to respond to, and really to be aligned on the same purpose, to work on the same way, but also to learn with each other, because we always had something to add, and it's really about this connection, this joint effort, and I believe it turned the work into 100% better than if it was made just one of us.
Thank you very much. So now let's move to the city that is hosting us today, so Milan. So Sona, can you tell us a little bit more as City Hub of Milan? What is this City Hub doing? What are the key features and the key figures, of course?
Thanks, Luca. It's not on.
Oh, it seems it doesn't
It
work.
is?
Try again.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay,
now it's
great.
working.
Thanks, Luca. Good afternoon, everyone. So Milan City Hub is hosted by Made Competence Center, which is a very strategic position for many, many students from Politecnico, because we are in the Politecnico facilities, and it is giving us a possibility to work directly with the students. Basically, what Milan City Hub is organizing is visits to companies in Lombardy. We organize different visits also to Made Competence Center, because the Competence Center is all about manufacturing, and it's a very big industrial area to showcase industrial, let's say, innovation for the students. It's very, very interesting, and I'm really glad that we have already 3 visits upcoming in the next months in visit to Made Competence Center. And Milan City Hub is a huge city hub right now, because we are covering a huger geographical area. So we have City Hub members from Northern African countries such as Algeria, Morocco, or we have also Southern Latin American countries covered. So we have City Hub members from Mexico, which means that the City Hub cannot organize events only based in Milan. And what we are trying to do is to organize events for young manufacturing leaders, the members also online and not on site. We have some courses, as my colleagues were explaining. Many of the projects gave results, such as online courses, asynchronous courses, which were provided. They were a little bit modest to say that more than 200 young people last year participated in the learning paths. And this gives another view of the network, that it's not only about physical events, but many actions are being done also online, and it involves global, let's say, possibility to become members.
So basically what you are telling us, and the narration is like, let's say Milan City Hub is capable also to integrate within the network diversity, like not only maybe with other city hub, collecting people from the same countries, from the same university, but also exploding, let's say, the opportunity all around Europe and not only. You were mentioning regarding North Africa, Algeria, Morocco, and so on. So how should young manufacturing leaders, also connecting to what was mentioned in the previous keynotes panel, how we can attract furthermore talent and young future leaders, not only figuring and positioning ourselves within Central Europe, but exploding and exploring the boundaries out of our continent, in your opinion?
That's a very nice question, Luca. I think we are all brainstorming very often in our meetings about that. I must say that we are 6 here on the floor, but we are 8 city hubs. So we are missing our friend Lucy from Prague City Hub, and then there will be also Grenoble City Hub, Andreas, to represent. The network has been growing all these years, so it was also nice from many events and activities that we carried out to hear young manufacturing, I would say, growing members who approach us and who are in the network and asking to open another city hub in their universities. So having those young people who are seeing an added value in this network and they wish to have their own city hub is giving us the chance to approach much more young people. It's tricky how to attract them, I must say, because today's students are overwhelmed with so many courses and so many activities and stages and traineeships all around. Let's say they are already busy, but we are trying to find an added value in every action we are taking care. We are applying to different European projects to get fundings and allow ourselves to go closer to much more countries and open as much as possible city hubs. I must mention that last year we also had a meeting with Young Manufacturing Network in the USA, which was a very nice meeting. We didn't know that there was this network in the USA, and we found out very many interesting points which were matching together. That would be another possibility also to approach, and not ourselves, because not only Milan City Hub is covering many countries, but each of us is covering different countries depending on geographical position. But it would be nice, of course, to have in our dreams to have a city hub in every country. That would be really amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So let's move to Spain. So I propose to ask to Irati, that is very young, let's say, in the bachelor engineer course. So can you tell us more about the Basque City Hub in your perspective?
Yeah, so, hi?
No?
No?
Yeah?
No? No?
Talk for a bit and then it's...
Hi?
Yes, now it's
okay.
working.
So the Basque City Hub not only takes Spain, because also France and Luxembourg is inside, but especially IMH campus inside the Basque country really focus on reducing that gap between academic and industry and companies, because all the study programs are dual, which means that the students, at the same time they are still studying, they are involved in companies. So in my case, for example, I'm studying the dual engineering process and product innovation, and at the same time I'm working in the additive manufacturing department of the campus. And being part of YML as a city hub is giving another step on this connection between academic and students, but it opens a little bit more farther than the Basque Country. Because in this way we also obtain connections with other countries, with other cities, and all around Europe. So the principal aim, I would say, that is that making that connection and reducing that gap, and of course giving to all the students an opportunity to be in a really interesting network and having those international connections that are really important for our future.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, your campus and your city hub is trying to reduce the gap. So we know today, as we discussed in the last days during the World Manufacturing Forum, the skill gap represents today one of barrier to further boost our productivity, but also our capability to be competitive in the future. So as current engineering student, but also involved in some more practical activities, what are your expectations, like this network benefit could give to young students, but also young future generation leaders, let's say?
So what I expect from this network, I will say there are mainly two things. One is, of course, knowing about new technologies and not only about how these technologies work, but also to understand how the company's attitudes and the industry attitude is when there are those technological changes. Because nowadays we have some technologies, but in the future we are going to have other ones. And also companies and industry, they are going to adapt to those even newer ones. And the other one is, of course, to being part of this network and having like a lot of writing experiences. I have already seen this because I have been this last month here in Milan doing an internship in Politecnico di Milano, and this was thanks that both universities, they are inside the YML, and it was possible to make this connection. So I really saw that it's really important to have this connection with other countries and other institutes, and yes, I hope to have more opportunities as these ones.
Yeah, it's very insightful, I believe, for all of us, and maybe some people that are connecting from, also to have these different perspectives. Someone that joined a network a couple of years ago, and also people that recently joined. So on this purpose and on this matter, I take the opportunity to connect with Greta. So I met Greta a few years ago when the first time I joined World Manufacturing Forum and have the chance to be awarded within Young Manufacturing Contest. So the stage is yours. Can you tell us a little bit more about Gothenburg City Hub, what has been done, but also what are the main activities that today you are involved?
Thanks for the question. So Gothenburg City Hub has done a lot of different activities, but maybe let's start with highlighting that we are hosting a podcast that all the city hubs are involved in, but we started it and we have had these amazing journalists from our hub that have been part of the World Manufacturing Forum and also invited people from all the city hubs to be interviewed in our podcasts. So please check it out, Industry 5.0 Leaders Podcast. And a shout out to all the Tekniksprångare who have done an amazing job there. And that one, I think we want to continue. We think that this is a good opportunity to highlight role models, but also to discuss topics that we're all interested in with experts. And I think as young people, we also have this maybe advantage that we can ask these, but like, you know, blunt, bold questions to senior people that maybe not everyone would have the courage to ask. So I think that's something very interesting. And then we also have this event series called Beyond Buzzwords. So again, like bridging this gap between academia and industry. So we invited people from industry and academia to discuss these buzzwords like digital twin or something like that, and see what are the perspectives, like what does academia say versus how does it really look like in reality. We also organize company visits, and we have like an annual event for the Gothenburg City Hub members, where we invite them to the Chalmers House and have workshops and keynote speeches and so on top of the annual event here in Milan, of course. That's always the best.
Thank you very much. And if we move back to Dublin, so what are the key strengths or the main domain of expertise that through the YML City Hub you are able to share with the net or with your members?
So as I it's working. So as I mentioned, like our center is working on like advanced manufacturing. The focus is on metal 3D printing, like for different applications like implants, biomedical applications, toolings, and it's like we are trying to show that young engineers and like students in UCD that like what is missing, what are the opportunities in the industry for them. So it's like broaden their awareness of what is the opportunity in advanced manufacturing. And also we are trying to strengthen our network, like to discuss, to show young people, like young engineers actually, how the additive manufacturing is working. Like some of the people are not aware of that we can print like metal parts. It's very interesting for them. And showing them and we take them to companies that are doing those additive manufacturings and showing them that it is possible, that we are using the digital tools, but actually it's like human-centered. It's not like it's like totally automated. People are in charge, humans are in charge, but we are using automation and digital tools to additive manufacture.
And just connecting to your last point regarding additive manufacturing, one of the main topics discussed during the convention was the topic of recycling manufacturing, especially where we have scarcity of this material. So definitely this is a dotted point because we cannot pretend to invest in this type of technologies if we want to prevent or incentivize this use of advanced technologies as additive manufacturing. So let's say that Dublin is definitely a campus that is investing a lot of energies and events that we're doing. So are you receiving appreciation from the students, not only having theoretical exercise at university, but also having these events that could foster the engagement of these people and also showcase how it could be effectively performed, done, and experience, let's say?
So like usually what we showcase is like doing like workshops for simple additive manufacturing, and also in that workshops we are trying to quickly calculate how quick and like lead time is different from conventional, but how economic it is, like to give them the perspective. And also the main challenge in additive manufacturing is like another main challenge, let's say, is that printed part is going to work actually in the real application. So we are giving them case studies that we are giving the part and asking them to write one page, their idea, how to develop, how to improve the property of the part. And like, yeah, company visits, there is an Irish manufacturing research company that is their focus is on metal additive manufacturing and like showcasing how they are doing the additive manufacturing and what the challenges they are facing. My PhD is connected with the industry, which is like metal additive manufacturing for injection molds. The company is printing the metal parts, like the injection molds for Lego, but the parts are not durable. We need to improve the durability for them.
Thank you very much for your insightful discussion and comment. So I propose to go back to Porto, so to Ioana. So now we discuss about the past, so the journey since the beginning, the present activity. So now let's move ahead looking for the future. So what is the plan? What is your ambition as young manufacturing leader, City Hub, to promote this network and how to recruit new talent and the leaders of the future, let's say?
So in the past few months, our mentoring program has been some kind of asleep, and that is something that I would like to bring back, because I was a mentee. I saw how good it was for me, for my personal and professional development. So I would like to take that or offer that to other students, especially inside the Faculty of Engineering, but maybe try to open doors to other schools also, and gather some really interesting people from the industry, from the academia also, to give their example, to show how the job can be, but also I think part of mentoring is also learning something from the mentee also. I think the experts always have to be able to learn a little from the ones that are on the other side, because they really can say something interesting and important and experience from that matter, but looking on the outside or from the outside gives a different perspective, and sometimes the great ideas come from that perspective. So this basically to say that I really want to bring the mentoring program back, gather some interesting people, and showcase the mentoring and the courses we created to that people. And I mean, it's about keeping in post. We can learn from each other. We can maybe still do some joint events. We used to do some online events that can reach a bigger audience, since we don't have to move around, and we are actually on the digital era, so we must use and abuse the online.
Digitalization should be the connect point between the different geographical areas. So thank you very much. So if we move to Patras, I mean, it's different contests and is small hub, small university. So what are your objectives for the future? How to attract in this contest new talents and new future leaders?
Thank you, Luca. Is it on? Okay.
Yeah.
What we want to do is to focus on visibility, opportunities, and engagement. Because the truth is that in Greece, at least, many students and young professionals still don't know about our network. So what we need to do first is to make it visible by presenting it to schools or universities, by contacting local industries and companies, and of course to make sure that our activities are online, by distributing them through social media. After that, we need to highlight to new members the opportunities that they will gain through this network. For example, the manufacturing report or the workshops that they can join, because that is a great motive for them to know that they can gain something from us. And finally, we want to show them that this environment in our City Hub and in this network is welcoming, which means that their contributions and their ideas do really matter to us. And I think these are the best ways to gain members that they're both active and engaging.
Thank you very much. So now moving to Sona. So what is the plan of Milano City Hub to still growing and attract new people in the network? What are the plan for the future, let's say?
For the future, the plan is to reach for much more universities as the rest of us, because we have City Hub members mostly in Lombardia region, so we have much more from Politecnico di Milano, but the idea is to reach from other universities, the members as well. For the network, the future would be to each city hub has its own, how can I say, as you can see, reality is their own activities, but together we are very much diverse also in our expertise, and using this expertise in European projects, in funded projects, will help us to not only organize events like this, but keep on moving forward our contests, which have been always very highly participated. And it is the moment that we are recruiting much more students, because learning about contests on World Manufacturing Forum report, or learning about a video contest, is very attractive for many students. That is that, together with the learning paths that we have been always creating, is helping a lot to recruit new members. Another idea would be to come together with the local businesses and companies to support the internship programs for the young manufacturing leaders. This is something that Milan City Hub is now working on, because having the possibility of the companies supporting MADE Competence Center is creating a direct bridge with the academia, and we are allowing these traineeships to start within the network. This is another possibility to have a huger number of the members.
So let's say a very challenging and let's say dynamic plan for the future. So all best of luck to achieve these targets in the coming months. So if we move to Greta, so to Gothenburg CTA, what is the future and what are the main domain of development you would like to leverage for the future? And that is my first question. And the second question is, we discussed a lot about upskilling and human centricity during the session of today. So it's clear that the university today, at least in Europe or more advanced country, is very strong delivering technical skills, especially to engineers. But how our network can also be supportive for companies in a more turbulent and volatile environment to support students to learn more and more the so-called soft skills?
Very good questions, thank you. And actually, I was already thinking that how I would like to see our network in the future is connected to what you just said. So I think there would be a lot of things that I would love to do in this network. I think there's huge potential, and it's so important. I mean, after what Johan told us before, we really are not so many of us. So we really need to stick together. We need to be super skilled, super augmented, to be able to, do all the tasks that we need to do. And also, as Joanna said, I feel that I have gained so much from this network, both professionally but also personally. And I would like to continue do that for others as well. But we need money for that, so that would maybe be a first thing, to continue looking for funding and to have resources to do all these activities that we would like to do. Connected to this talent shortage question, I thought about it during the day already. We saw these African numbers with how the demographics look like there and how the demographics look here. And I think this could be something that we could use the network for as well. It's all about building relations. I think seeing these different perspectives, building relationships, friendships, that's the base for having a smaller world, like where everyone comes together, like a bigger world, but everyone coming together and finding new opportunities also for people from Africa to come here. And I think everything could start with, a contact with one of us. So I think that could be something really interesting to explore, and I think there is I know that there is very huge interest from the European Commission as well to build up these relationships with the African continent. So I think the network could be instrumental there. But then also what you said our network, we are all coming from technical universities, technical schools. What are the skills that we are missing that industry wants us to have? It's a lot about, showed us the skills that industry is asking for, leadership skills, communication skills, listening skills, and so on, empathy, these kind of things. So I think it could be really interesting to explore that as well. I mean, we have created these learning paths, but I think we can do new things there, new courses, but also coming together, coaching each other, could be mentoring each other, and so on. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your question, for your answer. Not easy question, let's say, to address. So, moving to Dublin, instead for you, what are your ambition targets for the future, and also what you mentioned before, your key competencies, additive manufacturing, and also network mainly composed by PhD and students, and how to attract also out of this network people, let's say, in the context of Ireland, and not only. Yeah. Yeah, not only Ireland, yeah.
To be fair, we have, I'm part of AMS CDT, Center for Doctoral Training, and we have connections in Sheffield and Manchester. We can attract people from there to join the network. I'm actually trying to reach out people from there to see if they are interested and to join the network. And also that would be really good to have the webinars. Joanna mentioned that to attract people from different parts, not only Ireland. And also, what else? And I need to be more active, to be honest. I wasn't able to organize many events last year, but I'm planning to do more to encourage people to join, to show what's the opportunities.
So let's say, and wrap up what has been said, that also the collaboration should be the main way also to addressing the new requirement coming from, let's say, the contest. So leveraging each other from the key expertise and strengths, it definitely will support also the, let's say, the network to be more productive, more effective to address all this topic. So I would like to conclude the panel of today with Irati. So as you know, we are living in a volatile environment. Probably when I was a student at Polytechnic of Milan, I was attending the course in sustainable manufacturing from Professor Taish. It was the first time I was hearing about manufacturing and sustainable binomium, let's say. So looking from as students and a bachelor student as engineer, what are any, like say, topics you foresee that it will be more prominent in the years to come? Both technically speaking, but also, let's say, from a soft skill standpoint.
I will say that as a student, it sounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. As students, we receive like a lot of information about what has been going on during more the past of the manufacturing companies and industry. And of course, we are also mentioned and talk about the sustainability and what the importance is in different sectors. But it's true that the tools or the actions we have to take to can continue that path and thinking on sustainability together with the future is not so clear and can be a little bit complex because as we are really young and we have a lot of things for the future in our minds, combining two different complex things, I don't know if I'm explaining, but can be sometimes like quite complex for us. Because it's like two things that are quite unclear for us, the future and also sustainability because quite new. So, yeah.
Yeah, so like coming from industry and coming from like day-to-day business is very difficult to implement this type of technology and also this type of mindset. So it will definitely crucial for young generation leader, in my opinion. Then I give the stage to you also to try to bring this new instance. So let's say that sustainability, innovation, soft skill is really matter today. So we cannot deny at all. And in a context that is more volatile, and I was really impressed by the slide shared by John before regarding creativity. I mean, when I started my bachelor degree in engineering, no one spoke about creativity for an engineer. You don't really need or care. So it's okay, you have to know your technical expertise, you have to be expert in what you are doing, but no one. So maybe we can start from Joanna, that you have an hybrid background, also in management and also involvement in YML, so not pure academic one. So how do you think that on this topic, also the network could not only support like people coming from, let's say, academic and pushing an academic like path, but also people coming from the like, practitioners, from the industry, let's say, and how we can collectively help them?
I totally agree with Greta, and I think our purpose should also focus on, as young manufacturing leaders, we should also be some kind of beacon or lightning for other professionals, and stand for this modernization of the work, trying to include the soft skills in the courses or in the academic works, because they will be an important part of the role that we will perform in the future. But also, I think we could be some kind of part in the manufacturing change that is occurring right now. So these skills gap, we have some roles that are being changed or really replaced by machines or some kind of digitalization, and including the professionals, people in these changes fundamental. So this upskilling and reskilling can also be focused on the professionals, people that studied in another era and has a skill set more focused on the hard skills, the technical skills, and they need to be included in the change, and we can be part of it. I think we can try to deliver our expertise, our different skill set, more focus on creativity, on entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. We can be entrepreneurs. We can try to shape the company from the inside, give some insights on how things could evolve, could be more modern and turn to the future, and in a way that no one is left behind, I think so. Because there's an image of digitalization that the machines came to just use the people's roles and stay there, and no, people are still needed, and they just need to adjust their skills and their knowledge in order to fulfill this role. And I really believe that part of our work should be in that direction.
Thank you very much. So I have a question for Sona. Like, how do you believe that women in manufacturing can acting, working as Made Competence Center, Industry 4.0, so based on your experience, your projects, how can women evenly contribute to this journey, and how, from a young perspective, because we discussed massively during the conference, can be attracted to this industry, let's say?
You are keeping your tricky questions only for me. Okay, what we are witnessing is that in manufacturing field, this transformation that Joanna was pointing is happening, creating a working place where the force is not anymore needed, the brain is needed. So we are not living in an area where a man should be in manufacturing field because there is something to lift or some physical actions are needed. But any work can be done by both genders, but all the genders. So what I would say is that it is making the field much more appealing for everyone, and women in particular, because nowadays there is all the possibility to learn to make work the machine, the robot or the cobot or anything. Not and it is not anymore the question of men or women. Right, so this would be the future. This would be, to my acknowledgement, the most important thing to convey and to teach, for also making this gap less and less in the future years.
Thank you very much. Not easy question, I understand. So last question before closing this first panel of today is for Greta. So you have a big expertise of human-centric approach related to the topic of Industry 4 and 5.0. So do you believe that with artificial intelligence and its implication, we are kind of passing the gate for a new revolution? And how we can connect the concept of human centricity with artificial intelligence revolution that is heavily impacting our way of living, approaching, working every day?
Very good question. So I think I'm connecting to a little bit what you just said, Sona. I think what is very different with AI in the human-centric job places. So if we're looking at the human, I think before technologies have, threatened our physical tasks. So physical tasks that are like putting something from here to there, or assembling something and so on. These things can be automized by, for example, robot, and we have conveyor belts since many, many decades. But what is different now with artificial intelligence is that also the cognitive tasks can be automized. So it's actually something that could threaten us or our jobs, our values. So we really have to define and discuss what do we as humans want to do? What is our value, and where do we feel that we're better than the AI? We all know that we have to take it at least with one pinch of salt, or a lot of pinches of salt, what for example, ChatGPT is telling us. So, for example, ethical parts, or really like critically questioning what the AI is saying, is something that the human can do, because we have a lot of experience and we can connect different dots. But coming back to your question then, how can we connect AI and human centricity? I think AI really puts some pressure on us to define what do we as humans want to do. Human centricity is all about really enhancing human well-being, and creating better working conditions, taking all needs into account, so we really increase the well-being at the workplace. And AI can be used for that, but it should also not make our work boring, because I know that that also will not make us happy or make us feel well. So let's discuss that in the future.
Absolutely, will be one of the main challenges for the future. So just to wrap up this first panel, let's say that YML Network is investing a lot for the future. So there are some streams that we have to work on. We have definitely to leverage on mutual strengths and opportunities in order to address many challenges that we might expect for the future. I would deeply thank you for accepting our invitation to be today with us on the stage. So a big applause for all YML City Hub members and this amazing representation. So now we will have 15 minutes of coffee break, and then we will start with a word of YML. Thank you very much to you. So, welcome back after the coffee break. Hope you enjoy it. So, now it's time for celebration and for the award of Young Manufacturing Leader Contest 2025. So, in the meanwhile, we are waiting for having also the photographer for the ceremony. I invited on the stage David and Greta, but also 3 women in 3D printing. So welcome wherever you want, on this side, on this one. I give you in the meanwhile the mic.
Okay.
Greta is coming.
Making his entrance.
Ta -ta 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 -ta. I give to you the mic. Doesn't work? No, non funziona, no, guarda che funziona.
So, as is tradition, as part of the World Manufacturing report, we always include a selection of the best essays on, of course, the theme, the vision of the young leaders on the topic of the report every year. This year we received more than a dozen of essays, and we decided, as always, to award third, second, and first place. And this year even we had some issues, right? Because there were some very, very, very good essays that we actually had to declare a tie for the third place. And well, Greta, would you like also to elaborate a little bit on our criteria for assessing the essays?
Yes, sure. So, as David said, we got really, really good essays. So
Is it working, your phone?
I'm not sure. Okay, so as David said, we got a lot of really good essays with very interesting cases. The idea was to present a case that is about a novel solution, and it should be something that is really having a big impact on these challenges that we have been talking about during the forum, that are big challenges for manufacturing industry, such as the skill shortage, but also sustainability challenges. And the idea was to write an essay about a platform that would be some kind of solution, or some kind of technology or platform that would be helping to find a solution to this challenge. And we assessed these essays on 3 main criteria. So it was about creativity, how creative is this solution, how novel is this solution, and also how well was it written. And
So
do we want to present the winners?
So we do it like in the Oscars, like digital envelope.
Yes.
So
opening.
would you like to start with our third place?
Yes. So as David said, it was not so easy, but we have 2 people on the third place. They're from 2 different city hubs. We have one person from the Milan city hub with the essay called Stress-Aware Skill Development Strategies Towards a Human-Centric Training Environment. And it's from Moreno Biroli, from Politecnico Milano. I know it's Marta Pinzone's student, but you can take the award for him. And we share this third place. He shares this third place together with Sandra Jaksic from Gothenburg City Hub. Her essay is about manufacturing for all, expanding the skilled workforce through cobots and augmented reality. So big applause for the third places. We're going to make sure that they get their award.
We have little awards from Women 3D Printing for the
Yes.
third place. So Marta.
Marta, please.
Please come here. And
This award is...
So a big thank you also to Women in 3D Printing. Maybe some words from you, Valeria, as well about what Women in 3D Printing is for. Thank you so much for preparing these beautiful awards for us.
Thank you also for inviting us. So, Women 3D Printing is an association founded more than 10 years ago in the US. Now it's spread everywhere. We are, of course, the Italian chapter, me and Ilaria. Okay. Thank you. Okay, it's better now. So I say we are the Italian chapter of Women 3D Printing, Ilaria Ardizzoia and Valeria Tirelli, but it's a very huge community, more than 300 members here in Italy. We are, of course, promoting the technology, diversity and inclusion, and we are very happy to be here today and support these awards and promote again the young people that are a lot of creativity and they can find their way on the future. So thank you very much for being here, for inviting us. And again, let's go further on the winners list.
Thank you for supporting us. So, second place, maybe you can help me to read our second place. Okay, it's too small, I'm sorry.
Sorry? Okay, so second place, we have from Gothenburg on the title Agent-Based AI Platform for Dynamics Energy Optimization in Automotive Production, Inside from BMW and Debrecen plant. Okay, so the winner is You. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And here, maybe I can just show the
award.
The awards.
Yes.
So we have one. Maybe if you, I don't know if you can show. So this is for the winner.
And we have our first place. So the first place, it's an essay. It's about bringing the skills gap through technological platforms, leveraging AI-assisted prototyping for upskilling in manufacturing. And is this also from Gothenburg? Gothenburg the hub got busy this time, very, very busy. So I have the pleasure to present the first place of the Young Manufacturing Leaders Essay Contest 2025 to Per Martin
Siljeklint.
Yes. Martin, congratulations.
Congratulations. This is for you, and also this one. All 3D printed for you. Congratulations.
And David, where can we find all these essays?
So also before we jump into that, Martin, can you just wait a little bit, because we would like to say a few words about your essay. So of course there was a criteria, but also beyond the criteria, what the people that read and help us to select the winner, what they are really appreciated from your essay is, first of all, that it was very clear what was the challenge that you were solving in terms of the skill gap. And you really brought out the importance of the technology as an enabler, but still you keep the importance of the people on how they use the technology and how they can really become more augmented, more able to learn faster through the use of the technology. So really making the technology the medium, making the technology the enabler, but at the same time keeping that human touch in the process. So thank you very much for taking the time for writing the essay for the report. Thank you very much to our other winners. All these essays will be included, as I was mentioning, as part of the report. The report is going to be published in the upcoming weeks. And once we have it there, of course, you're going to receive your physical copy and your digital copy, where you can, of course, feel proud when you can see how you're contributing to the global discussion of the key enabling technologies for the future of manufacturing. So congratulations again. Thank you so much. Good, so Luca, we give you
Thank you very much. Thank you again for Women in 3D Printing.
Thank you very much once again to Women in 3D Printing for supporting the work.
Thank you very much for this, and congratulations to the guys that won the award for 2025. I joined this contest a few years back with the same award, and always again for all the people that took the time to spend the time to prepare this, apply, and also for joining us today. So let's go back to the agenda of today, and let's introduce on the stage Professor Andreas Riel, shareholder of Industry 4.H at the University of Grenoble-Alpes in France, who will deliver the keynote Making Technology Platform Work for Future Generation for Workers. So in this keynote, Andreas will try to highlight what are the technological platform and what is the relationship between Industry 4 and 5.0. Furthermore, what are the profile needed in the future generation? And one critical point mentioned in the panel above, but also during the discussion of these days, what is the ethics and the code of ethics that the future leaders and future generation working in manufacturing should embed? So thank you again for accepting our invitation. The stage is yours.
Many thanks, Luca, for this very kind introduction, and many thanks to the organizers, many thanks to Marco, David, Sona, Marta. I say etc. Because I'm sure I forget. Okay, it's really a pleasure to, on the one hand, contribute to this YML summit, but on the other hand, also, somehow close this really. And I also profit from that to give a compliment to the organizers of the whole World Manufacturing Forum. This year again, you can imagine me, and I think also here most of you attend quite a lot of similar events on the topic of Industry 4.0, 5.0, but to be honest, and I'm not saying that here to vous faire plaisir, but this one, I think the quality is highest because you succeeded in bringing together in practically every roundtable, okay? You brought together academia, you brought together industry, people who are really doing the job, and policymakers. And I think this is key to success nowadays. It's not sufficient just to explain the world. We need to work with those who are doing the job and who really knows what works, what does not work, okay? And the second key success factor is also this kind of event, to include the future young leaders. And here I just continue the thread that Johan already started to create. It's you, the future, okay? And I tried also in my keynote, whose topic was proposed by David, to a little bit follow this approach that I just took apart more or less the title, okay, and knowing that, of course, it's a big pleasure, but also very difficult after such an event to tell you anything new, okay? Of course, I won't even try to do that. I will just try to put this idea of a technology platform on why in this time, in this era of industry of the future, I would say, they are more important than ever before. A little bit into the context, and as it is a little bit sort of towards the end, try to convey a few advices and missions to you as the young future leaders and those who literally, of course, you cannot predict the future, but you can prepare it, and you can actively contribute to that future. I mean, I even learned a new term, this twin competence, okay? I mean, in technology, you know, it has been for years now that we say T-shaped people and Y-shaped people. Now we need twin-shaped people, and this twin-shaped is a little bit, I tried in my preparation to visualize it in that way. First is manufacturing competencies. Why? I mean, we can say what we want. I mean, yes, manufacturing might be polluting. Manufacturing might have led to quite a few unsustainable things, but still, manufacturing is at probably the heart of our sort of well-being, okay? And you see how many jobs have been created thanks to manufacturing. And the challenge is just in the future to link manufacturing. And we will see in a minute that this has also been said many a times, more or less indirectly throughout the talks, that manufacturing is far beyond what it used to be. Okay? I will come back on that in a minute. And not only green, but we have all these sustainable development goals. Yes, there is the green, the environmental dimension, but of course also the social dimension. Then the impact on the skills. I mean, this has also been said many a times. I wouldn't add a lot, except for maybe one aspect, which probably, I mean, this afternoon Joanna mentioned it a little bit. I mean, we always talk about the students, but who talks about us teachers and professors? How do we renew our knowledge? How do we progress? Okay? And to me, there are three answers. One answer is first, it's you. Because thanks to your student exercises, of course, if we think nicely about interesting topics, thanks to your PhDs, thanks to your master thesis, many of them, like in France, practically all of them industrial engineering schools executed with industry. And finally, and not lastly, the technology platforms. Okay? This is also our lifeblood, more or less, to renew our knowledge. And the next challenge is how to teach all this. How to teach it in a way that is attractive for you and for us. Okay? And here in this context, of course, the technology platforms are key. Okay? I included three as an example, because in a teaching context, the technology platforms have, of course, the key importance to concentrate as many as possible technologies in a place such that students, you and us teachers, can work with real-world materials, both for teaching but also for research. Okay? And I mean, I included the three members of our chair. Of course, here we're in Milano, so I start, of course, with Nate. Yeah? Excellent. I mean, all those technologies in one place. Yeah? This is exactly the way to go. And also what you do on this platform. There will be a slide on that. This is the second part. Then in Grenoble, our platform, here we have, I mean, in Italy also you have several teaching platforms. We have, so to say, even a cluster which started about 25 years ago, simply for the simple fact to share resources. And this is really a topic. And maybe to add one thing, if we consider AI, I mean, how to do AIs, to me as basically a computer scientist at my foundation level, it's just another way of programming. Okay, so I mean, the classical programming is you tell the computer what to do, okay? You give it some data and then you hope you get the right result according to the rules that you coded. The AI is different, okay? You basically, the code that you make is matrix multiplications, more or less, okay? It's a sort of optimization algorithm that just makes that if the algorithm is confronted with a lot of data, you hope that you will get as an output what you want to get. And you don't have a guarantee, you only have a percentage, more or less. It's just a different way of programming. But that relies, at least the biggest part, machine learning. Yeah? But it relies on the fact that you have the data. Okay? But where to get the data? And even the whole research is dependent on the availability of data. Okay, so we need this equipment to produce the data, to create simulators to produce those data that we need. Okay? Good, this is maybe one aspect I wanted to mention. And our third partner is TU Darmstadt, so in Germany they also of course have even two in Darmstadt such technology platforms, of course with a lot of high-end infrastructure. Then there is this part in the title I was given, future generation workers. Okay? Somehow this does not, okay, now it works. This is again interesting, your generation, yeah, because you have seen in this slide about the skills that maybe 80%, maybe even more, of the so-called Industry 4.0 technologies are nonetheless enabled by digital technologies, by IT. Not everything, so additive manufacturing, of course, also IT is very important for this technology to work, but basically most things are IT. Yeah? And I put a digital blood, yeah, put it Generation Z or whatever. So basically you have an easier time to use this kind of digital technologies that make that from this shop floor we have nowadays real digital twins. What is the difference between a digital twin to us, to a classical simulation, is that you really make decisions based on the simulation, yeah? Rather than in reality as far as maintenance is concerned, as far as line stops, as far as line optimizations are concerned, and so on. And you are especially good at that, okay? And it also enables one aspect which has been mentioned, I mean, in the context of, here exoskeletons, yeah, this is this collaborative paradigm, of course, but there is one more thing, the collaboration, which Sona mentioned in her response. I mean, how about the ladies, yeah, and how can we make that ladies have a better place in manufacturing, and also, I mean, not only ladies, that manufacturing jobs become more attractive again. I mean, this is also a real issue, whether it be male or female, the attractivity and attractiveness of manufacturing jobs, okay? But the point is, you see this collaboration paradigm between machines and human beings where we can rethink the distribution of workload. So people, where they are good at, where the strenuousness of the tasks is not necessarily to be performed anymore by the human being, but fully by the machine, by the robot, or at least, if we don't have a greenfield approach, because probably this kind of task, if we could create or plan the factory from a greenfield, we would put a robot here, okay? So this is one thing, but there is another thing that Sona correctly mentioned. I mean, we see, of course, thanks to or because of digital, a shift of manufacturing jobs to office environments, okay? Because we have real-time Ethernet now, and we can transmit data from the shop floor to the office environment, okay? And this makes several things. So first, it's a shift in job roles, it's a shift in skills, it's a shift in job localization, okay? But there is another shift, and I'm coming back to what I was saying at the beginning. My hypothesis that there is no real separation between design and manufacturing anymore. No? In IT, we call it DevOps, okay? DevOps means that in IT you know that from your office environments, that basically you know that from your computers and smartphones, that almost every day, partly several times a day, you get updates. Mostly for cybersecurity. This is the next thing. Yeah, we'll come back on that, okay? But the point is, these updates need to be developed, okay? And they suddenly become, over the air, mostly part of your product. So the point is, nowadays, a product is never really finished, right? So after a sort of start of production, a delivery of a product, development continues, okay? And this is only possible if we get feedback from the ops, the operation. Yeah? So the real operation of the product in the field, okay? But not without knowing that one of the key success factors of the e-mobility and then towards the autonomously driving car is the over-the-air update, okay? Otherwise, this will never work, okay? Apart, again, from the cybersecurity threats, okay? And so the point is, the frontier between a classically protected in the office and computers design environment, okay, and then a manufacturing environment, they are sort of disappearing. It's a continuum between design, operation, manufacturing, operation, update, continuous design, introduction of new functions, during operation even. These are things which are not science fiction anymore. And most of the outstanding applications that already work is maintenance, okay, even in heavy assets. And this has an impact on jobs, of course. Yeah? So manufacturing jobs, the spectrum is much, much wider than it used to be. Okay? Then making them work was in the title. I mean, classically we use them for teaching, for research, but we can use them for many, many more things, like also the MADE shows. No? I mean, in MADE you have like an open space where industry can come, where policymakers can come. They can follow trainings, they can be creative, yeah? Creativity sessions, okay? You can put competing somewhere. You can try out technologies. Where's one really better than the other one? Yeah? Would a cobot really help compared to a robot that has to work in a totally protected environment because there's no safety? Yeah? Or would AI work better than the classical approach? You can try out, and this is even a business model with industry. I mean, for us, especially for the 3D manufacturing environment where we have electron beam melting, the WAM, and so on, and all this equipment is heavily expensive. So part of our business model is to let industry have parts produced by us before they invest into the technology. Because as was also said by Bob and by David, 4.0 has had a hard time to really be adopted because it was mainly push, techno-push. But it's not the way to go. The only way of finding your way through the jungle is by need-pull, okay? But for that you need to know your need. Where's the technology really good at? Where can it really help you? And here these technology platforms, they can help. Without the industrialists having to invest into the technology, they just let the teaching, the technology platforms try out for them. And there are many other things, and I included one slide on the aspect of playing, okay, because I'm convinced we need to revisit our way of teaching all these technologies and so on. This is one of the actions of the Grenoble City Hub SONA, yeah, by the way. We organized quite many serious games on sort of discovery of the Industry 4.0, orientation towards, you know, how our skills changing, how job roles changing, and so on. And as you see, with different age groups, yeah. So with these are really our students, international students, but these are more school children, okay, and these are industrialists, okay. And we basically played the same. This is the nice thing about the game. You can, if you do it right, you can make it with every age group. Of course, the learning objective is different every time. Yeah? If you do it with industry, it's more an orientation towards job roles, towards road mapping, okay? If you do it to students, then you realize of course we don't stop in an engineering school with just playing the game. Yeah? But what we realize is the students are much more open after playing the game to learn the hard facts, okay? And for the very young ones, it's very interesting to discover. Okay, good. Then, and this should be, I hope I will stay in time here, but this is, of course, what, I mean, especially when you become older and so on, you start feeling more and more responsibility. Okay, of course, normal. When you're young, with me was the same. Yeah? So you're interested in your own careers and so on. It's normal. But the older you get and the more you observe what's happening in the world, the more you feel responsible. Okay, and this is the two last parts of my talk. And I will highlight a few things that, of course, I had to anticipate. Now, being the last one is very difficult. Okay. But maybe really there are some elements which probably have not been mentioned so explicitly yet. One thing is the subject of complexity. Yes, it has been mentioned quite many a times. Still, I think in this VUCA world, and I think you know this term, it's the C that is basically at the origin of the V, the U, and the A. And it's somehow, and you are engineers, it's normal because, I mean, I was thinking a lot, I was coaching myself a lot, industry to innovate faster and so on, so we've always been innovating. Huh? But it was said many a time, somehow things are going much faster than before. Yeah? And we invested so much time and energy to, now we rather invest time to slow them down. Okay? And why is that so? And the point is, at least for me, the conclusion is, or the explanation is, the Internet of Things. I mean, the world as it looks nowadays is interconnected in milliseconds. And not only a few hubs, but everything. There is the industrial Internet of Things, there is the Internet of Things, there is the stock exchange, which is not all this, you can reduce what we created, everything, to a highly interconnected graph. Okay? And I don't know if you have studied a little bit graph theory. My access to it is as a computer scientist. For us, we call it the curse of complexity or dimensionality. Okay? The point is, graphs are nice things, networks are amazing. Okay? However, at some point of time, if you connect everything with everything, you run into this curse of complexity that somehow you lose control and you lose direction, okay? Because everything is interconnected. You try to move one point, and it could be a law that is changed. It could be a supplier that is vanishing or something like that. And because everything is connected, you cannot predict how this graph will reorganize, or it's very difficult. Okay? And my hypothesis is, and this will be one, I prepared 3 key messages to you to conclude. And one key message is, please, in whatever, the complexity is not in the problem, the complexity is always in the solution. Try to reduce complexity. Okay? Rather than continuing to interconnect everything, to globalize every shoelace, okay? Try to reduce complexity. And that's also one reason why AI is so popular at the moment, because there's only machines being able to cope with that complexity. Human being cannot do that anymore. But if we do that, and this will be another point I'll be making, we risk giving away that last level of control. Okay? Good, I will come back on that. The next thing, which I think was not mentioned yet, is low tech. However, be careful, don't mix up frugal innovation with low tech. It's not the same. In low tech, you can do high tech. Okay? So but the difference is that whenever we apply high tech, whenever we innovate, we consider these 9 dimensions here, which are basically oriented towards sustainability. I won't go into details here, but Arthur Keller is the author of that. And more, almost all of my colleagues introduce this low-tech framework in their classes. So it's not doing high-tech, it's not the same. Frugal innovation is avoid doing high because it's not available in the developing countries and so on. So you need to come by with minimal infrastructure and so on, what was also mentioned many a times in the forum. But here's, yes, use high-tech, and it's normal. I mean, you are excited about it and you should use it, but wisely. Okay? Good. And then the subject of keeping control. I mean, especially in the AI context, you hear many a times in media, will a computer stronger or is AI stronger than a human being? I think this is not the right discussion. Why? Because, yes, for sure. I mean, human beings have always designed and built infrastructures and products that outperform their capabilities. Take Industry 1.0 as a steam engine. Which human being is as strong as a steam engine? Industry 2.0, Johan has had it, not you had the electric, but Henry Ford, yeah, the conveyor belt. I mean, which human being can, transport at such a regular pace 24/7 without tiring? No human being can do that. Industry 3.0 automation. All these machines that we have built. Which human being can do that? Okay? Industry 4.0, and now it's getting interesting. 4.0, we interconnected the machines. Okay? Which human being has the computing power and enabling you to do data capturing, process gigatons of data in milliseconds nowadays? Okay? Image analysis, even without AI. Image was one of the oldest computer disciplines, text processing, by the way, which is underlying LLMs. No human being can do that. All this data exists, no human being understands what is happening anymore. And there's also no police for that, okay? Therefore. So the point is, still, up to 4.0, what is still in common to all that is there's always a human being who controls, right? I mean, if you take this crane, if you take a steam engine, if you take this conveyor belt, normally there's a human operator saying start, stop, and programming the PLC, right? But the point is, when we go towards AI, when we go towards, automating everything by algorithms where we don't code the logic us, but we just send data, gigatons of data, which only machines can understand, is there a bias in the data? What is in the data? Who procured that data? Okay? Then somehow, maybe at least the hypothesis is, aren't we giving away the last layer of control, which is our brains? Okay? So this is just for food of thought. Okay? And the next thing is, and this is probably one of the, if I had to rank, number one societal threats, is cybersecurity. Okay? And I mean, these are facts. IBM report threat intelligence, every year they do that, and now for 4 years in a row, manufacturing environments are top, and this is not surprising because classically manufacturing environments have to be interconnected, not connected to the internet, not even to the intranet of a company. And therefore they're most vulnerable because classical IT backend servers over the last 20 years, we don't stop, building firewalls and so on. Okay? And partly in OT, in embedded systems, we don't have the computer power to have a super strong firewall, for example. Okay? But this is also linked to everything is networked. Everything is on the internet. Yeah? And smart home, it's so cool to connect via the internet because you have it on your smartphone and so on. But the day you connect your product to the internet, and it's a global trend, just from that second onwards, you are exposed with vulnerabilities to the cyber. And the attackers are lazy people. They don't attack, it's like a house. They don't enter by your main door, which is the most protected one. Yeah? They break a window. Yeah? And manufacturing environments and the smart home gadgets are the least protected things. So some key takeaways. I hope, Luca, I still have 1 or 2 minutes for that. Yeah? So I try to make understand first is reduce complexity. Okay? Reposition human beings, this was, I think, said quite many times, so rather than eliminating human beings, collaboration, and this means also even if classical manufacturing might be without any human beings, like what we have in semiconductors, Bob said in Fanuc, there's practically no human people anymore, they are robots producing the robots, they are still in the offices. And wherever you have machines, you need maintenance. Okay? So there will be new jobs created, but the point is they're in much closer interaction with the machines. And then innovation. Yeah, maybe this one I need to explain a little bit more. Good. So how to reduce complexity? Pull instead of push. Carefully select. Think about before you integrate technologies. Only when and where you really need them, and the technology platforms help you to try them out and to get them know better. Yeah? And then try to adopt solutions that you can still understand. Otherwise, you risk losing control. Okay? And source locally. This has been said many times. This was, I think, strongly present in the forum. I think I need not mention that again. Yeah? Maybe this one, I mean, there are probably thousands definitions of innovation, but they all have in common, they just have the economic dimension. Yeah? There is a market, okay? There is a need. But in future, please don't make the same mistakes as we made. In every innovation, consider, and maybe even more than the economic dimension, the ecological and the social one. Yeah? I think this is probably one of your biggest responsibilities, and if we still can help you guide in that and enable you doing that, it will be our big pleasure. Many thanks.
Thank you very much, Andreas, for your insightful speech. If we can sum up with 3 words, so reducing complexity, simplification, and teaching represent the key enabler for the future in order to support us younger generation to overcome the future challenge. Thank you again for accepting our invitation and to be on stage and sharing your key message. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now it's time for the second panel of YML Summit. So let's invite on the stage for panel 2 the Young Manufacturing Leaders City Hubs flagship projects. So let's call Unai Munian, lecturer and researcher of School of Dual Engineering, EMH campus in Spain, representing Basque CTA with the project Virtual Learning Factory for Europe. Then Huizong Cao, PhD students and researchers at Chalmers University of Technology, Sweden, representing Gothenburg City Hub with the project Skill A-Ability. Filippo Stringa, R&D manager at MADE Competence Center, Industry 4.0, Italy, representing Milan City Hub within the project ELCAM. Welcome, Filippo. Liliana Antao, senior data scientist and a PhD in informatics engineering, University of Porto, representing Porto City Hub, with the project Beyond Automation, How Generative AI Assistant Reshape Industrial Workflow. And last but not least, Yannick Fiedler, PhD student at ETH, Zurich and Inspire, from Switzerland, representing Milan CTA with ASSY projects. So welcome on the stage. Real pleasure to share with all of you the last panel of today of YML Summit. So a big applause, because it's Friday afternoon for everybody. So let's start the session with a short presentation of all of you. So let's start from Yannick, and then we finish with Unai. So couple of minutes of self-introduction of yourself before introducing your project.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Nice to be here, now also on the stage. And yes, I'm Yannick. I'm from ETH Zurich, and I'm presenting today my project about SE 5.1. It's called SE because of assembly. So in this project, we are looking at technologies that support the assembly task of people.
Thank you very much. Liliana?
thank you also for the invitation. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you all for being there also. Also, I'm Helena Antão. I'm a researcher and a PhD student in Porto, Portugal, and at the Faculty of Engineering of University of Porto. And I will be presenting our project called VoiceMate that basically explains how generative AI assistants can help in the manufacturing workflows.
Thank you. Filippo?
Okay, hello.
Try to.
Funziona?
Sì, now it's working.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm presenting myself. I'm Filippo Stringa from MADE Competence Center from Milan. I'm energy engineering from Politecnico of Milan, and I work in the research and development team of MADE Competence Center, and I deal with a different funded project about advanced manufacturing. So from the field of innovation and in the learning field, and we help to bring this digital transition to the small medium enterprise and along all the Europe with our research project.
Thank you. Huizong.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very honored to sit here and to present together with everyone. And my name is Huizhong Cao, and I'm a third-year PhD student at the Chalmers University of Technology. And my main supervisor is Johan Stare, like we had a keynote before. And my main research topic is cognitive augmentation technologies. So I work with VR, AI, humanoid social robot, and human in the loop digital twins. I got involved in the development, like from the design, development, and also the final evaluation and the iteration of the technology. So kind of each stage. And very happy to be here to present a scalability project to you. And we will talk about it more later.
Thank you very much. Let's conclude with Onaim from Basque Country.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation. So my Unai Muniain, and my background is on physics. I studied physics in the University of the Basque Country. Then I did a PhD with the topic of nanophotonics. And now I am a lecturer in IMH campus in the dual engineering. And I am also a researcher within topics of learning factories and active pedagogies in engineering. So this is related to the topic that I'm presenting now, that are virtual learning factories.
Thank you very much. So I propose to start from Yannick, so the first introducing himself in this session. So can you tell us more regarding your project at ETH and what are the main benefits from human-centric standpoint?
Yes, so in this SC project that I briefly mentioned, we work together with different companies. They're all located in Switzerland, and they're all facing like the same problem. They have a lot of manual assembly tasks, and they would like to support the workers with new technologies. And we are supporting the companies on one hand on identifying the technologies, then selecting them, and then also testing these technologies on the shop floor, but also in the lab. And today I brought like a kind of deep dive into one project that we carried out, yeah. So kind of when you think of Switzerland, probably most of the people think about chocolate maybe, watches, and also maybe kind of the financial sector, but actually even in Zurich, like in the heart of Switzerland, there's still heavy manufacturing. And we're working there together with one company that is producing compressor housings or compressors. And I brought you two pictures, you see them. They are like really massive components and products that they're building there. And it's like that's also one term that we heard today. It's a low volume, high mix production, what they're doing there. So they have like usually producing like per week like one of these compressors. And these compressors are used afterwards for maritime and like offshore purposes. And we see there like some really big balls that the workers need to kind of handle, to lift, and then to assemble to this housing. And they can weigh up to 25 kilograms. And usually this is done manually, so they can't really use any like lifting aid because for their production type it makes no sense. And so we were kind of wondering, okay, how can we support the workers in this really kind of exhausting task? And what we came up with, or what we tried, is the exoskeleton. And we can see on the second slide. We saw this also already in the previous presentation. This is a little bit different type of exoskeleton. This one is a back and shoulder exoskeleton. So you see it can support like the back and then also the shoulder. And what we did in the research now is we supplied, or we gave this exoskeleton to the workers, and then we studied kind of what are the effects of this exoskeleton. And the special, or our research question, is less focused about the ergonomic benefits, because we already know quite well that the exoskeleton will reduce the strain on the body. But we were actually interested in how do people feel when they use this technology. So do they think they are Iron Man, for example, something like this? Or are they more stressed because they have to wear this? Do they feel weaker? And this is actually what we did. So we did a field experiment, we supplied them, and then kind of analyzed how the workers feel with this technology.
And how this project starts? It was more academia-driven project, or it was more covering the needs of the company, or it was a combination of this mutual effect?
It was actually like a combination. So we had like a kind of a journey together with this company. There was first like a master student from the company who just explored what technologies they could use on the shop floor. So it was like a general question, okay, what can we use? How can we kind of improve and optimize the operations there? And then actually from the workforce came like the idea, hey, we would like to test exoskeletons. That was really surprising. And we kind of took this idea then as researchers and said, yeah, let's do like a bigger study on this. Really try to kind of go this journey with them, to understand the technology, to understand the needs of the people, and also to find like a suitable kind of exoskeleton then, and yeah, to see what's at the impact at the end of this technology.
So it was an effective example where university and also enterprise can cooperate to have a mutual win-win in this journey. So let's move to Huizong Chao. So representing Gothenburg City Hub and Chalmers University of Technologies. Today you are presenting scalability projects. So tell us more about this project and who are the main benefit of that?
Yes, perfect. And I'm very honored to present this really great project. We say this is great not only because it's kind of integrate a human-centric approach in the real learning factory development and also the use cases, technology development, but also because of the audience and the users of the project is quite different. So it focuses more on the vulnerable groups. And we believe that with the universal designs, where you focus more on the minorities, you benefit the majorities. And to get these ideas, like how we can benefit those people who has special needs, demands, such as people who has a hearing impairment or vision impairment or neurodiverse. And we will notice, okay, there's a lot of improvement potential for each technology that can generate new design guidelines to make this technology more user-friendly, more enhance the human technology symbiosis, while also augment and empower the peoples. So we consider operators in the future as our users of the technology, instead of only they are not only generate economic benefits, but also they are shaping the future of way of working in the manufacturing and make the manufacturing a real attractive place in the future. So this project, we have 14 partners from 7 countries, in which, like inside, we have also a Union of the Deaf, the European Union of the Deaf. So they function as also the focus group to test our technology if for them who are deaf, and they can also utilize the technology and they can be involved in the future context when they want to, make the workplace more inclusive. So I think this project is really interesting. Yeah.
And if I may, which company have you been working with or testing? How was the type of synergies that you experimented and you experienced, let's say, with these projects?
Exactly. So these projects we have involved like 4 different labs, and for Chalmers we are utilizing Scilab as the test bed. So we have 3 learning factories inside the Scilab involving those kind of 4 use cases you can see from the illustrations. So for each technology, we have involved companies from the design phase, like so the technology suppliers, but also those also the company's partners as the test group, like for the focus group. But they also get involved in the workshop to understand the demands and what kind of requirements we have for them. But also some companies, operators, they function as a way to provide us feedback about the technology at the early phase. So for each technologies, we have tried our best to involve companies. For example, we have an event called M event, and we have now in the series 5. And in the next 2 weeks, we have involved like 50 company partners to engage into our workshop of this scalability project, and then to evolve them to understand better how to design the future like human technology symbiosis and to benefit more operators. And so I think it's in different stage. Yeah.
And so this day we're attending the World Manufacturing Forum. So like digging into manufacturing sector, what is the feedback, the expectation of manufacturing industry with this type of projects and initiative, let's say?
Like, we have to say, like, there are so many initiatives like related to this project, such as the Learning Factory. And we have been also developing, like, I have ambition to involve 810 company users or participants to get involved into our 40 workshops. And yeah, like also those companies, they should also come in from more than 200 companies and across 7 countries. So I think from the industry, they have this kind of demand in this project to first to understand the benefit of the human-centric approach, like what kind of what kind of needs to be met, but also if we need to have also the assessment criteria, the methodologies, like to help them to identify which kind of technology are really useful to help them to empower their operators. So we need to have a big pools of technologies and to, as Andreas talked about before, the complexity of the technology, and we don't want to overcomplicate everything. We want to select those best technology and develop it in a way to shape the future of an inclusive workplace. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. So just connecting to what she said regarding the virtual learning. So I connect to Unai with the project Virtual Learning Factory from EMH Campus and from Basque City Hub. So let's tell us more about your projects.
Yes. So this is a European project called Virtual Learning Factories for European Union. So what is a virtual learning factory? Well, first, a learning factory, it's a representation of a factory, of a real workplace, in a school or vet center or university. But this serves to bridge the gap, or bridge the academia and industry. So there are many learning factories, but in our project, we want to digitalize or virtualize these learning factories using some technologies. For example, here we can see in the right some digital twins. So here we see a UR robot, a real one, but then we can associate a digital twin. This can this can be useful to a simulation, or also if it's a digital twin and it's connected, the virtual robot with the real one, we can also move the robot virtually. So we move virtually, but we also can move it, the real one. And also we can use some other technologies like augmented reality or extended reality. So using this digital twin to create more pedagogical or active learning in engineering.
And so what are the main benefits from this initiative? And in particular, why did you decide to keep it virtual? So,
Yeah.
it's quite a wide question, but hope you can address.
Yes. So learning factories exist for many years, but they have some disadvantages. And they are quite expensive because and you must have a complete space in your school, and you must buy all the equipment. And also, it's not maybe so accessible. So virtualizing it, and you can create more accessible, so much more student can use it. And yeah, also it won't break. And for example, one partner of our project says it's in France, but it's an engineering school with many schools. So for example, they have a learning factory, a real one, in one place, but from other schools from this campus, they cannot access it really, but virtually yes, using some virtual learning factories. So in this case, yeah, maybe we must buy the technology, so it's not cheap at all, but once we buy it, it's much more accessible to maintain also than a real learning factory.
Real factory. Thank you very much. So now moving to Milan, so giving the mic to Filippo. So he will shortly present a project made by MADE, sorry for the repetition. So I know that he's quite connected with the project presented from UNAI. Do you have any curiosity or question to address to him?
Yes, I don't know if you, based on your experience, how this kind of project can foster the collaboration between the small medium enterprise along all the Europe and at the international level?
Yeah, so maybe the most beneficial ones for our project maybe seem data university or high schools, but then the learners will become engineers in the future. So and they will go to business or to SMEs. So it's important to have a collaboration from the beginning. And also in our project, there are 6 countries, so we must so we have one like engineering school from one country. So we must collaborate in between us to have a European view of the skill gaps that we must follow. But also, it's not only for universities, because we also need feedback from SMEs, which are the skill gaps that they are, which are the skills that they must task. So this kind of project is very useful also to give them collaboration, to also support them with the virtual learning factories, because they also need them to reskill and upskill their workers. So yeah, this kind of project not is also for universities, because yeah, we can also collaborate with many other places.
So let's go back to Filippo. So I hope that Unai replied to your question. So let's move to MADE and LCAM project. So tell us more.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. Yes, in fact, it's very connected, the topic that Unai talked about before. So LCAM project means Learn and Centering Advanced Manufacturing Platform for Center of Vocational Excellence. It's an Erasmus Plus founded project where MADE is one of the country partners of the consortium. As you can see from the map, it's not only a European consortium, we also involve Turkey and Canada, so it's quite a worldwide project that has the main goal to strengthen the Center of Vocational Excellence in the advanced manufacturing. So the main objective is to reduce the gap that there is between the training institution and the request from the small medium enterprise. In fact, as you know, the small medium the request of the small medium enterprise is always going very fast, and the institutional training has to be at the same pace. One of the most important part of this project is the unique approach of this project is that the learner is in the center. So the request of the learners, that can be a student or a worker, are in the center of the objectives of the project. So they need the opportunity to upskill and reskill in order to face the new digital transition and green transition. So to reduce this gap, we create a platform, a one-stop shop where learners and workers can can have a skill assessment in order to understand which are their skills and which is the gap that they have to reach that job or that knowledge for the world of the work, and this platform helps to connect all these educational training center, all the small medium enterprise, all the learners to create an open innovation community. So a community that reduces the gap between the small medium enterprise and the field of the work that needs, and the course and the capability that the student can reach in their institution.
Thank you very much, Filippo. So definitely first European project, but with very exposition to international network. You were mentioning before, and you also include in your presentation. So it's involved Turkey, it's involved Canada, so it's very worldwide project. And second is something that also young manufacturing leader expertise could be leveraged on. So now to conclude the roundtable of projects, I leave the stage to Liliana. So can you tell us more on this project in Porto? So the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Let me connect to the presentations of all my colleagues. So imagine a world where in any manufacturing process, with all the data that you have, with all the different processes that you have, with all the guidelines, the documents that are private, but that's the guidelines for maintenance, for how can I upskill myself because I need to follow that process, how can I help people that have disabilities, how can I make my new trainee the same level of my experts. This is what we are trying to do with our VoiceMate. So we are trying to basically, in simple terms, very, very simple terms, take the idea of ChatGPT, but make it private, hands-free, and knowledgeable with only the knowledge that you want. So it's always up-to-date information on your process, on your manufacturing process, on your industry. It's fact-checked, so you can get to the sources. You can give the guidance for your operator, for your trainee, for the person that you are trying to guide. You can actually say, oh, you have a question in your manufacturing process in the step 1. Please check, it can give you the direct answer, of course. This way you can actually do the process easily because you are hearing, okay, you need to put piece A in piece B because the manual that we have in our company says this. Then you can check page 3 of the given manual. So it's not only easy because what we are doing is basically taking this generative AI component, make it interact with voice, something that has already been done, but then we feed it with the information only from your industry, your guidelines, your documentation, even your sensor data. And this is the trick here. The cool part is how can I make it opportunistic? How can I make it not only help me during my process, but then give me information that is relevant for other components? For instance, I may be doing maintenance in a given sensor, but I have information on other sensors of the machine, and it may be opportunistic for me to do that also. And this type of assistant can give you that information on the site. This way you can save money, you can save time, and you can improve your workers' performance also, right? So this is the main idea behind it. In here you can see one of the prototypes that we are working on. This is mostly now being done during 2 master's theses. We are building upon some work that we already did on the text component where you can have answers, you can guide you directly to the guideline of the machine, to the maintenance component. We are now building upon this with the voice components. And the voice component is very important. Why? Operators need their hands-free, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we are now trying to do this in a multi-language component, so it works with Italians, with Portuguese, with English, whatever language you may need.
And what do you think is the main key differentiator, or let's pose in a different way, what is the main competitive advantage of this project, this tool somehow?
If you could switch to the other slide?
Yeah.
This, for me, it's the main advantage of what we are trying to build. So don't see this only as a ChatGPT for the processes, see this as opportunistic AI, okay? You can have a connective brain that connects everything within your factory in a private way, okay? So the idea is to run models locally. It's not to go to the third party and release all your data to OpenAI. That's not the idea. We are trying to build our own models and put it locally in the factories, so then you connect everything. You can connect from sensors to machines, to guidelines, to technical reports, to logistics. So you get this huge high-level perspective of your factory that then can help you. For instance, quick example that we are trying to implement. I'm doing a maintenance and it says I need the specific piece A and I don't have it. Why don't I have it? Maybe with opportunistic AI connected to the logistic component, I can get a perspective of what is going on in my complete end-to-end process of my manufacturing company. And I get, okay, I have a problem in my logistics, or I have this component should be here with more time because this type of maintenance happens with more frequency than I expected. So this is the part that I think it's the big advantage. Besides privacy, of course, it's this high-level connection, full connection of the industry.
Thank you for your presentation. So if we can do a segregation between the audience on the stage, it's clear that we have more a part connecting to learning. So how to prepare the future in terms of skills and learning platform. On a side, we have something that is moving more towards execution stage in manufacturing. So definitely your initiative, Liliana, with the one of Yannick is something more close by. So Yannick before explained quite well the dynamic of this project. So do you have any curiosity based on running out this project that you would like to address to Yannick?
Yeah. One of the things that I think would be really interested is, do you see a connection of this type of assistance with the hardware component, with the exoskeletons, with the doers, with execution? How do you think that would be a good synergy, and how would that happen?
Yeah. I mean, so we used in our study a passive exoskeleton, so it doesn't collect actively any data, but there are also active ones out there, so that actually where you see, okay, how much muscle activity they used, how much they kind of walked around the shop floor, etc. So and actually you could also put this information into like this whole system. But then, of course, then there's the other question that arises about kind of data privacy. How do you, or people start getting maybe afraid of that they being tracked and so on. But of course, this has also an opportunity that you really try to understand what is then the benefit of this technology, because that's usually the question that also I receive from companies, and this is also the reason why we do this project, is what's actually the benefit of this technology?
Absolutely.
And it's not only the operational benefit, it's also like the benefit for humans. And that's also the idea of Industry 5.0, right? That we go back to the humans and that we try to understand, okay, what's now, how do we help the people? How do we help them to feel better? And this is actually then very important also like to this whole network that you're creating with the solution, kind of to understand, okay, how can we optimize the factory, and maybe where are like some blind spots we haven't attacked yet, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So just to concluding this second panel of today, and just to closing the Young Manufacturing Leader Summit. That is an open question for Filippo, Huizong, and Unai. So how do you believe, or any of you would like to answer to this question, how we can connect the learning platform and the learning capability skills with more a second step of execution? So basically, how we can connect your projects with some of execution stage that or some project that has been presented by Yannick and Liliana? Or I don't know, who of you want to answer to this question?
Yes, I can answer.
So lady first, go.
Yes, scalability provides 4 learning paths, which are augmentation, empowerment, human technology symbiosis, and inclusivity. And we test a series of technology, and we notice when you learn something, you get a really good experience. It doesn't mean like when you execute without this instruction, it could still remain in your mind or make you smarter. So, for example, we tried in VR, and we noticed people find themselves quite immersive and engaged in the learning phase, but when they do the test in the end, they didn't have this kind of memory to record and also to reason back why they have done the sequential steps. And this caused a problem, like people getting less creative and more, how to say, more lower like performance when they using this technology only when they learn something. So we notice when you learn something using a technology, it's very important to see what is the learning outcome is. And by using, for example, physiological data and performance metrics and also the subjective assessment as a way to measure the learning experience, and then we can get an exclusion like how to select which technology for what kind of a scenario and how to enhance the execution performance. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your answer. So I propose to make a big applause for the people that are accepting to be here with us today. So that is a hand of Young Manufacturing Leader Edition 2025 and also the end of World Manufacturing Forum. So a lot of discussion ongoing, many challenging ahead in the future. Again, it's a nice platform where to exert the possibility to exchange, to generate network, and definitely young generation and young manufacturing leader, we have an impact. And so we are here and called to support the next step and support the creation of the skill for the future. So thank you all, thank you for being here, and hope to see you next year again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I propose before leaving to take a picture all together as kind of routine, and then there is aperitivo time, so we cannot skip it. Yes? Yes. Prova. Potete mettere la slide UML? Grazie mille.